All right, welcome everyone for the YouTube live on how do you overcome your exam anxiety, right? This is a very important topic because those of you are going through your exams. It could be an exam starting from your 10th, 12th to degree exams to competitive exams to taking forward to any level. This anxiety will not leave you, right? There is a stress, there is a tension that what we all go through, and in this particular special YouTube live you're going to understand how do you actually deal with that. I'm going to give you a 5 amazing ideas that you can actually implement right from today during your exams, which will help you reduce that anxiety. And I'm also going to share with you, because we also need to understand why this particular problem of anxiety happens. We're going to understand the 2 major root causes for that, and we are also going to understand 3 mega fears that actually bothers us during the exam. Okay, so before we actually get into that, if you are very new to this particular YouTube community, so click on that subscribe button and also give that thumbs up so we actually go live now. Are you guys ready? If you're ready, just type it on ready in the chat box so that we are all ready and all set for this particular session. And also take as much of notes as possible, as we are actually going through a lot of things here. So completely be here 100% as we go forward. Thank you. Great, let's get started, guys. Before I actually share this particular thing, I felt like I want to share with you a video. Most of the people during the exams, we actually behave in a completely different way. Some people, they actually do the entire day night outs, right, to study, right? So much of chaos that will be actually happening just before 1 week of the exam, studying with the friends. I know for sure many of you can visualize that experience, but I got one funny video here to show with each and every one of you. Let's go and watch that and then get started. All right, so you saw that video, right? Doing this during the exams, right? So this is actually why it is happening, is because people have this very big idea about the exam as like a battle. Some people do it effortlessly, some people do it average, some people cannot make it happen. And majorly there are 3 mega fears that actually bothers. Number one fear that actually bothers is the fear of preparation. They know that they haven't prepared well, and suddenly that will start bothering. I haven't learned that question. I haven't prepared for this question. I haven't got through this derivation, or I haven't got through this theory. So immediately what you have not studied becomes a problem for you. So that is actually the fear of preparation that is bothering you. The second thing is fear of paper, that is uncertainty. What if I actually get a very tough paper, right? And the third thing is that fear of failure. What if I fail in this exam? What other people are going to think about me? What about my friends? And all of that particular thing, which are more and more anxiety and stress. And the main reason why we actually have these fears is because of 2 things, right? Let's understand why it happens, right? The reason why it actually happens, number one, is our past experience. We know that in particular subjects, whenever we are dealing a particular subjects, we'll be like, oh, this subject is too tough and I can't make it happen. And that itself is actually bothering you. Could be with fear of preparation, or fear of the paper, or fear of failure, right? And there is a second reason why we actually feel this anxiety, which we call it as, in psychology, it is called as rumination. So which is a process where our thoughts keeps telling us, no, you can't do this, you might lose control, or you might forget everything what you have studied, or you might get a very like out of the syllabus kind of questions. All these kinds of thoughts that actually bothers us to get this anxiety and stress and tension in our life. But I'm going to actually help you here with amazing 5 ideas which are very simple, which are very fundamental, but that is what people forget, right, during the exam time. Let's go and let's get started. The first one, so like what to do now, right? Let's understand that. What do you do now? So the very important thing that what you can actually do during the exam is that very simple, which you hear this from your parents, you hear this from your teachers, you hear it from everybody, but we still go and do what? Last minute preparation, last day preparation. So the very foundation, if you really want to actually move out of that fear of preparation, you have to start preparing in advance, right? So that is very, very important. And that is where we, in memory magic as a skill, we actually teach people, right? How do you actually do spaced learning throughout, right? Even if you have studied something today, within next 7 days, how do you actually study that back again? Till that time, you don't need to touch. After that, how do you actually study that back again within 30 days? That is called a spaced learning. So we need that spaced learning. Then we don't need to be fearful that have I prepared enough, because in the brain you are actually trying to put so many things in the last moment. It is creating that anxiety, because brain also need to process certain information, but you have been doing this dumping, like there is a usual saying, right? So where you mug it, vomit it, and forget it, right? So where you actually mug it through the exams, the last days, and you actually say, I want to vomit everything, whatever that I have in my mind, and then you forget it. So it should not be that way. The exam should not be that way. So that is where it is very important you prepare well in advance, so that the anxiety and stress level and the fear level of I haven't prepared will get down. This is the basic one. This is something that everybody tells you, but you don't do it. And it's my duty and responsibility is to remind you that start working with the next exam from now itself. Even if you see any champions today, they prepare well in advance. So there is a wonderful saying in Kannada, they say it as Yuddha Kaladalli Shastrabhyasa, which means during the time of war, you start practicing, right? That's not the time. You actually practice well in advance, so that when exam comes, it becomes so easy for you. But some of you, I know, like you have various different things to do and all of that, but see if you can actually dedicate some amount of time in your day where you schedule it and make things happen, right? Hope you got this particular first one. So the second thing is bring certainty in studies. What does this mean? So you got to bring certainty in studies. So you have to actually do a little more. Like usually there is a traditional or a linear method of learning, which means I get a book, I study everything. No, prepare well in advance. That's number one. And then also prepare what are the possible questions that could come, what are the previous history of that exam, what are the earlier years paper, what has been the most common questions that is been keep on repeating, right? You bring certain certainty that this might come, this might come, this might come, and you also actually gather certain information in such a way that there is a certainty. If there is a certainty, you know what will happen when there is a fear of paper, which I was actually saying, no, these are the very important things that will come for sure. When you actually read everything and you haven't given any importance to anything, that is when we actually have a anxiety. And sometimes I will tell you, there are two things that can happen with fear of paper. One, it can actually come exactly the things that what you have studied. One, the things that what you have not studied. Sometimes, how much ever you have prepared, it can still come out of the syllabus, but there is nothing is going to change if you just keep yourself tensed and stressed and anxiety, because you need to understand the principle of this brain. If it is certain, it wants to do more things. Think about it. You actually get into a jungle and you are actually, like, it is very dark place, you get scared. Do you actually want to move? No, your brain gets blank. So same thing is true with the exam, right? You got to get certain that no, I have studied, I have made the preparation, I know that certain things are going to come. So if you go with this certainty in your studies, and you also have applied memory magic skills, like, because we teach people in our community a skill called as memory magic, which will actually help them to build their academics to a completely different level, right? We have people who have scored from 7 CGPA to 9 CGPA and above, right? So how does that happen? Because they use accelerated learning techniques. Like, how do you actually keep certain things in your mind that you actually put in as a hook to actually get that things out? So that is very, very important. So you bring that certainty in study, saying that these are the possible questions, make notes, right? So do various different things that gives you that confidence that you have prepared well enough, right? The third thing that is very, very important here is that study with successful students. Many people don't do this, right? You have to find people who are already successful in academics and be along with them, study with them, and collaborate with them, learn with them, right? Find this particular one thing possible, because most of the time what we'll do, if we are average, we'll tend to study with average people. If we are below average, we tend to study with below average, or we tend to study alone, and we might miss out on so many amazing things. And that is where I always say that it is always good to study with people who are already scoring well, because there is a well chance that they are already well prepared enough. They already have certainty in what are the possible things that can come, and you can get the first 2 points actually very clearly laid out from this third one, that is you studying with successful students, right? The fourth one is much, fourth and fifth, like if you see the anxiety as a whole, many people not just have exam anxiety, many people have anxiety about their future, right? Many people have fear of failure in the future. What if I actually fail? What if I don't make it? What if I actually be broke, or I don't achieve what I want to achieve in my life? So that is actually not of the external world, it is actually of the internal world, which is how do you balance your mind, how do you actually keep that mind focused, how do you actually keep your emotions very, very strong during that particular time. And that is where this process, what comes is affirmation and visualization process, that plays a very, very important role. You affirming the right things, because most of the time during the exam time we will be having a lot of self talk, right? Saying that what if a tough question comes, what if I actually don't get the answers when I actually get into the exam, and all of this particular thing. But you say, right, so you say this particular things, I get answers very easily, answers to all the questions are on my fingertips, right? I remember everything. You give good positive affirmations to yourself, and you visualize you get into the exam hall with calmness. I go to the exam hall with calmness. I start reading every single questions, and I feel so confident, so awesome, that all the questions that are there I have already studied. I feel really good about this, and now I start answering each and every questions. I start answering each and every question. This is a powerful visualization, as if like it is already done, right? So now what will happen, you are training the brain, right? Because some of the athletes were asked this particular question, right? Like how do you actually train your brain when you are actually going through such a big competition and such a nervous situation and all of that? So they have already trained that situation. What if this situation comes, how would I actually behave, in their brain thousands of times. And now when that actually happens, it becomes so easy for them. It is the power of affirmations, and it is the power of visualization process that creates the magic, right? So hope you actually understood. So I want you guys to actually start practicing the affirmations. You write down 10 positive affirmations about how you have studied, what you have studied, right? And just tell that to yourself, right? This is a positive encouragement to yourself. And sit calmly in a place and visualize the entire process of you entering, like 10 minutes before the exam. How would you be? You enter the exam, you start seeing the question paper, and question paper feels so amazing that okay, everything is actually easy, and then you start answering. Visualize this process. So then what will happen, you have trained the brain, and whenever there is a trajectory for the brain, it tends to follow that. When there is no trajectory, then it goes with the flow. So hope you are able to get that particular thing. And the fifth and the most important thing, as I've told you, you have to take care of your mind and your emotion. Along with that, you also need to take care of your body. For many people, I've seen this, immediately during the exam time, they get physically ill, right? So they get vomiting sensations, they get diarrhea, and so many various different types of challenges which they experience during the exam. And it is very, very important that you take care of yourself. How do you take care of yourself? You take care of yourself by eating well, sleeping well, and meditating if you can get some time, and take care of yourself, right? So try to doing the best of the best things in your power to make this one the best, because this is what is going to the exam hall and writing and creating all these things, right? So it's very, very important that you take care of yourself and get things happen. So hope you got this very simple but powerful 5 ideas for you to reduce your exam anxiety. I'm just going to rephrase this so that it becomes very, very easy, right? As I've told you, preparation, okay, is the base foundation for anything. If you do not prepare yourself and try doing things, there is always a higher probability of you failing. The second thing that what we actually understood is bring certainty in studies. You actually get yourself what are the possible questions, like where you feel that, oh, I have prepared. Try writing the answers for the questions in your notebooks by just asking that question and try answering. Oh, I can get this. Now I know I am going to make it. That certainty starts coming, right? So you will not feel that, like if whenever you feel that uncertainty of what if I forget, okay, let me test it right now itself. You write a question, you start writing answers, And okay, look, I've been able to answer all the questions, which means I won't forget. Certainty, you start bringing certainty, but not overconfidence, right? Certainty is the balance. Then the third thing is that you study with successful students, find out friends who are actually doing better than you. And the fourth one is that you actually give positive affirmation to your brain so that you are actually in a positive mode, and also visualize the process of entire process happening the way you want it. And the fifth one is that you take care of your physical body, eating well, sleeping well, meditating, and taking care of yourself. Hope that you are able to actually get the value out of this particular YouTube live. And if you have loved this and if you have stayed till then, thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and also give that like button, and also share this live video with all your friends who need to see this, right? So that their life also could change. So with that, be extraordinary, and I would like to see you in the next live